What up, Bulls Nation? We've got a live CHGO Bulls coming up for y'all right around the corner. On today's show, Billy Donovan is officially a Hall of Famer. Sights and sounds from his induction ceremony, plus some high praise from Coby White, who is one of many current Bulls in attendance to show support for their coach. Also, what are some of the biggest challenges Billy Donovan will face this upcoming season now that he has newly minted HOF? And we will set our own goals for Billy Donovan, what we want to see him achieve with this team this season. Next. Hey, look at me.
I just seen Will Go Gottlieb.
What's going on, Bulls Nation? Welcome into the CHGO Bulls podcast. Coming to you live from our studios here in West Loop, downtown Chicago. I'm Peck, Bulls_Peck. That's Big Dave. Bam! BAWL Sports. Will Go Gottlieb, perfectly coiffed as always. Will_Gottlieb. And the queen of the controls, the one and only Katie W. What up, Katie?
I've already lost control of this show. I don't know what's happening.
Katie, I missed you so much.
I missed you so much.
That Peck is bad.
Hey, everybody.
They like Jordan wearing the 4-5.
Oh,
They like to play games
sorry
with
to burst the bubble of all the Peck haters out there, Bulls Nation.
Hey.
Can't get rid of me that easily.
Hey, he's back because he knows you need him.
That's right.
Even though you don't act like you don't want him, you need him in your life. You got to have some Peck in your life. You need a piece of Peck. It's a good T-shirt.
We all just gotta be real sometimes.
You gotta have a piece of Peck.
That's right. What up, Strick? What up, Rob, Maddie, everybody? Tony S. Stefan, what's going on, everybody? Happy to be back. Had some nice time away. Thank you, everybody, for holding down the fort. Had some great guests while I was gone. Most recently, shout out my guy, C Red Fred.
One and only.
He is fully back on that big red bus.
Yes, he is, baby. He's on the bus.
Love it. Respect
driving
it.
All passengers are welcome. Come on, get on the bus. I'll catch the next one. But come on, get on the bus.
What is the craziest thing that Fred said? I haven't listened to the whole episode yet.
Craziest thing?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I don't think it was too insane. Like, it was kind of in the pocket.
Yeah.
With Fred. He didn't really get outside the parameters too
Something
much.
no one has ever said before about C Red Fred.
Yeah.
Really in the pocket.
He was in the pocket. He didn't really get outside.
Totally measured takes.
The craziest thing was, the binder, the big red binder that he brought out and he was reading from. And Katie actually put up a name when she put up his name and also put up the name Big Red Binder.
I did see
for
that.
that.
Pretty hilarious.
That was probably the craziest thing, but it was very Fred, man.
The highlights for me were, number one, just seeing how mad he was getting every time Mark K put something in the comments.
Shout out, Mark.
That was funny.
It was quite comical.
I did hear a couple of pound sands at the end of the episode,
that's
too.
Exactly
Double dose.
he
went on his little soliloquy.
Double dose of pounding sand
dose,
at
baby.
the very end. And I'm just, it's so iconic. It really is. So to hear that live is just, it was a treat.
Every good podcaster needs a good catchphrase.
I mean, that dude has been saying pound sand about
Since before
Bulls
Katie was
fans
born, I
since
think.
Yeah.
Before I started writing about the Bulls. So that was 10 years ago.
Has he been saying pound sand longer than Billy Donovan has been coaching basketball?
Probably.
Maybe not quite, but close.
Got to check the scientists in Idaho.
Yeah,
South Dakota?
Yeah, where are his fake mathematicians and scientists when he's claiming his
He was in
accuracy
Idaho.
on takes?
I think it's Northeast Idaho.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, it's out there. So.
One of the most irrelevant places around. Very trustworthy scientists over there. All right, so lots to get to today. Let's dive right in. You guys talked about it leading into the weekend. Billy Donovan and many others, this year's class, the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame, getting inducted. Also, some other relevant names. Carlos Boozer, a member of the Redeem Team, also getting the Redeem Team itself, the whole team getting inducted alongside Billy Donovan. And, I mean, whether or not you love Billy Donovan as the last several seasons and coming into this season, like head coach of Chicago Bulls, I think there's no denying that his entire body of work and dedicating his life to the game of basketball is Hall of Fame worthy.
Yeah.
Agree or disagree?
No, agree completely. Back-to-back championships in Florida. Yeah, you go to the Hall of Fame. Like, we ran down the resume of what his college accomplishments were, and like just college alone for his resume, that's a Hall of Fame career. If that was any coach, like if it was a Mike Krzyzewski, a Gene Cady, or whoever you want to point to is that kind of coach, and they had that kind of resume, it wouldn't be any doubt. It'd be no doubt at all that he is a Hall of Fame college basketball coach. And then just hearing the players, of course, Joakim Noah, who was always leading the charge for his love for Billy Donovan, and just how appreciative of him he is, not as far as just his basketball career, but his life. So hearing things like that, seeing the accolades and all the things he's done, he's been to 3 championships. He's won 2, but he's been to 3.
Yeah.
Like, that is just completely impressive. And back-to-back is just a ridiculous accomplishment in college. Like, it just doesn't really happen.
Didn't happen
like
for
that.
a long time again after they did it.
Seriously, man.
Them Florida Gators.
Very special.
I think from a body of work, and obviously the college career speaks for itself, for sure he's a Hall of Famer. The NBA has not been. I don't think it's been like a Hall of Fame NBA coaching career, but I also don't think that he's as a result of that, like a bad coach. And it's important to remember that it is the Basketball Hall of Fame. It's not
Correct.
the NBA Hall of Fame. And
Correct.
so, from a body of work perspective, all things considered, for sure. But I think the NBA stuff is kind of what we're going to get into today.
Yeah. For sure. And so there was a lot of coverage of the Hall of Fame induction. The Bulls put out some really fun stuff, not only pictures, but videos, interviews of people who have been closely tied to Billy, whether they be his players or coaches and mentors of his throughout the years in both college and professional basketball. The Bulls put out this little video of Billy doing a voiceover talking about the honor and talking about his career. Kay, did you have that? We can play that real quick. Go for it.
I'd never really thought about going into the Hall of Fame. I just kind of loved the game of basketball.
Billy D.
Congratulations. I think it makes you reflect back on how I grew up, my parents, playing for Coach Pitino, the opportunity he provided for me to be able to coach with him to Kentucky. My family and my wife, their sacrifices that they had to go through to allow me to do something I enjoyed doing. And then, to be sitting up here in the Hall of Fame, you have to have great players. But just believe you're only as good as the people around you. And I've been fortunate not only to coach some great players, but great people as well. If you're around not only special talent, but special people, a lot of unbelievable things can be accomplished.
Very cool video there. That was courtesy of the Chicago Bulls. Put it up on their Instagram and their Twitter. That thing Billy says at the end of that little video, if you are around not only special talent, but special people, a lot of unbelievable things can be accomplished.
Facts.
I mean, I think that's the thesis of everything we heard from Billy, not only in his acceptance speech of going into the Hall, but everything else he has said around this honor and getting this honor, like deflecting all praise to those around him, essentially. Yeah. And I think that is why it's very clear to see why love him or hate him as a Bulls fan, or even just want more from him as far as X's and O's tactician and better in-game adjustments and all the things we always hear about Billy Donovan from Bulls fans who aren't fully bought in on him being the right man for the job. The reason you always hear his players say, God, I love Billy Donovan, is because it's very apparent when he talks and we hear others talk about him that he coaches this game not only for the love of the game, but for the love of the people he does it with.
Yeah, and we've heard, over the years, players talk about him, and obviously, there have been times where we've heard news about, friction between some players. Mm-hmm. But for the, vast majority of the time, all I've heard from players on the Bulls, and even, players on other teams who will come through and talk about him, is, how personable he is, how he, values the relationships between the people, and how that helps the players trust him. And I remember actually Patrick Beverley, of all people, when he came to the Bulls, he was so impressed and he kept on saying Billy Donovan's got some shit. He kept on saying that. And which I thought was hilarious. But it was also just that dude's played for some of the great coaches in NBA history.
Mm-hmm. And also a lot of coaches with all the moves he's made.
And so I think players really get along with them because he takes those relationships seriously. I think he's underrated as an X's and O's coach because that's where sort of the shortcomings of his basketball, his NBA, I should say, tenure have come, is like in the playoffs at that level. But like Kevin Durant has, really raved about him. Russell Westbrook, DeMar, like Zach, even after it was all said and done. Coby last year said like he's the best coach that he's ever had. Modest, obviously, and his career is so young, but like just all these guys really value him as a person, as a coach, and the relationships. And I think that makes it easier to buy into what he's trying to do. And that's how you get a coach who can take you from, a half court plotting offense to the fastest team in the league, from not taking any threes to taking the most threes. Like, I think it requires a certain level of personal relationships and trust that I think that's really his superpower that allows him to mold the team into the way that he sees fit with the roster that he has.
Yeah, that's very well said. I think we all have experienced it kind of firsthand, just what Billy Donovan is like, speaking. Obviously, you speak to him more than any of us. You can definitely speak on it. Just the time that I've met him and actually spoke to him, it was, hey, we've known each other kind of situation. He talked to you like he really, knew you, like just telling you his whole schedule, what he was about to do that day. And just answering questions about the Chicago Bulls that I had in an airport, just doing those things I thought was cool. I remember going to Summer League for the very first time and being, in the back area after the game, and Billy Donovan was holding court. You know what I mean? Like, he was holding court, bro. Like, all the players wanted to have a conversation with him, whether they were young or whether they were old. It didn't matter. All of them wanted to talk to Billy Donovan, and he would oblige immediately anybody who wanted to have that conversation with him, man. And it was just really cool to see that and to look at that and say, yeah, man, that dude coaches my favorite team. Like, that's really cool to see. Now, there's definitely some other stuff I'm going to need to see. I'll get into that later. But that kind of thing is really important. You mentioned those relationships that you cultivate and those relationships that you grow. That it leads to things like free agency, and getting players in here to come play for your team. And just hearing Patrick, you're right, hearing Patrick say that kind of stuff is awesome to hear him say those kind of things. And all these players and what they say about Billy Donovan is awesome to hear what he is saying about Billy Donovan, man. So now we just want, to see it, come to fruition with some more wins, with the Chicago Bulls. A lot of that is out of his, hands, and he's doing the best with what he can. But you want to see more. You still just do want to see more.
As Tony asked in the comments, just as what you were alluding to, Dave, maybe some playoff wins.
A couple.
Alongside those more
not turning it down.
Wins.
Not turning it down.
Even in just that 60-second video that we just played, mentioning all of these different players, I mean, it's just some of the people you see coming up to him and showing big smiles and giving big hugs. Carmelo Anthony, Dwight Howard, and then, of course, on top of that, some of his current players on the Chicago Bulls coming into the 25-26 season. Coby White, Modest Buzelis, Ayo Dosunmu, Dalen Terry, and Patrick Williams, all showing out in support of Billy Donovan. Like, clearly, whether it's players who played for him when he was at Florida, players who have played for him in his various stops throughout his NBA journey, like, it's just like you were talking about holding court, Dave, at Summer League. It just seems like Billy Donovan holds court wherever because he's just well-liked by everybody in the basketball world.
Yeah, and that's a cool thing. When everybody, like, kind of just wants to talk to you. And whether it's about basketball knowledge or about life or whatever, they want to have that conversation, with Billy Donovan. And that's just really cool that that's your head coach of your favorite team.
Absolutely. Saw some Al Horford in there, and of course, my guy Joakim. We got to knock out a couple of ads real quick. When we come back on the other side, we will talk about what we heard Coby White say when he was asked at the induction ceremony why he loves playing for Billy Donovan so much. We'll talk about that next. Hit the like.
Corey Brewer, what up?
Today's show brought to you by Circa Sportsbook. Whatever the sport, the app to bet is Circa Sports Illinois. Circa Sports is sports betting the way it should be. Circa Sports Illinois has high betting limits, low holds, and exceptional customer service featuring real human beings. I just took a break from Twitter for a week. It was great. I logged back on. I was like, Grok, go away. I prefer humans. Circa has those. Bet on all your favorite teams in every game this season. Spreads, props, futures, even in-game betting. Circus Sports has it for you. Fun and bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in Illinois, including getting your bets in for tonight's Bears, Vikings, Monday Night Showdown. Yeah. Let's go. Download your new bookie today at circusports.com. Must be 21 and older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
You guys want to know what Chicago sounds like? Matt, grab that can right there, sir. Take yourself a wonderful sip of that. Punch yourself in the thirst. Yes.
My thirst is gone.
Yeah. It's RC Cola. None of that chump stuff. Just pure, awesome cola. That's it. No frills, no spills, no woozies, no wazies, nothing. Just damn good cola. That is RC. The original cola doesn't fold under pressure. No trends, no gimmicks, none of that stuff. RC hasn't changed its stripe since 1905. Why? Because it didn't need to. It's working. Look at Matt. The joy on that man's face. It's that punch right in your dang on thirst.
Love it.
And you need RC Cola to do that, y'all. So guess what? Why don't you go ahead and do yourself a favor and grab some RC right at your local store. You can stock up for all your end of summer parties, all your starter football parties, all your starter college football parties, whatever. Get that RC Cola, y'all, and just enjoy. RC is the move for whatever, and I mean whatever you're doing, because it's RC Cola, y'all, the official drink of Chicago.
And we're back.
Yeah.
Speaking of RC Cola,
Yeah.
those fine folks sent us fine folks some treats.
Yeah, they did.
You guys want to see what those treats are right now?
These treats are.
I'm
and
looking
what they
forward to figuring out what this is.
like, What these treats
God, I love
are
RC.
looking like. Thank you, RC
I'm going to
Cola.
try and limit myself to one can a day now that our fridge here at the office has been stocked with them.
That means
But
3.
doesn't mean you need to limit yourself to one can a day.
That's right.
Have 2, have 3.
Ooh.
Should we read the note? I'll read this while you're
Okay.
opening it. Crack open history and crank up the pride. RC Cola is back and louder than ever. This limited edition Bears anniversary can, as Big Dave is about to show you, celebrates the unbreakable toughness
Look at that.
of
Look
the
at that.
85 champs. Alongside RC Cola's 40-plus year legacy with the Bears, an official soft drink of the Chicago Bears, we're proud to honor the 85 Super Bowl win and are looking forward to a great season with the Bears, their fans, and ice-cold RC Cola. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's 3 more paragraphs. But.
Is it just a decorative can, or is there actually cola in there?
It's cola in there, baby.
Oh, it's going to be so hard not to crack that open and drink it.
You are absolutely right about that, and that's why it feels like it's glued in here
Yeah.
to make sure that people like me. I'm sure I'm
You
gonna
gotta
get it
hold
out.
the whole box upside down over your head.
I've
No
got
way,
to
I got
have
the
it.
same thing.
Oh, my
What?
goodness.
Say what?
Looky here.
Look at this.
That's
This
awesome.
is really cool, though, man.
This is really cool.
Very
This is
cool.
very, very cool. And nice cards right here, removable here. Oh, it's some stickers behind that as well. So
Oh,
there's some
This
stickers
is going on
for
the,
you.
this is going
also.
on the home podcast set.
yeah, let's
Oh
go.
man, yeah. I saw Jason Watsky said he'll sacrifice his just for the put it on the podcast set. So shout out to him
Look
for
at
that.
Jay. Such a selfless act.
Shout out to him.
will not be
because
sacrificing
I will
mine.
not be doing
No.
that.
You can be holding on to these.
No.
Grab you all
These
some.
are awesome.
Grab you all some RC Cola, yo.
Yes. For real.
What up, Clem? Good to see you, buddy. Esteban saying C-Red and Bear Down. That's right. Bears. We are getting close to kickoff, y'all.
Bears.
Okay, but in the meantime, we're talking about Billy Donovan, the Hall of Fame induction ceremonies over the weekend.
Yes.
Coby White, as we just saw in that photo, the team photo, one of several of Billy's current players showing out in support. He was chatting with Casey Johnson of CHSN outside the festivities, and Casey asked Coby why he likes playing for Billy so much. Coby's answer was as follows, Katie, if you will. Coby said, Billy, he's honest. He pushes you. He's going to get the most out of you. For the most part, he's always been upfront with me, but he also believes in his players. He gets his players to compete every night. He builds a relationship with his players, which oftentimes you don't see a good amount of in the NBA, end quote. That courtesy of CHSN. So, look, it's not like this is the first time we've heard one of Billy's players speak very kindly and positively about him. I know Bulls fans in the aftermath of the news of Billy Donovan's extension, the front office's extension, which again were attempted to be kept quiet by the organization instead of being celebrated loudly and proudly. Bulls fans are always just like, hey, like, what is it about Billy Donovan, right? Especially given the, mediocre at best results of his track record. And again, I point to stuff like this.
Yeah.
I point to answers like this when you talk to his players and why they like playing for him.
Yeah, they love it, and Coby is definitely one of those honest guys. And I will give Billy Donovan credit for his growth also as far as a leader is concerned. Because we just talked about, how Billy Donovan holds court and, players love him. Well, that means you have leadership skills and real leadership qualities. I think Coby White has ascended to being a better leader around for the Chicago Bulls, I should say. And he's talked about it himself, saying him being more assertive and him holding himself more accountable. You also see him doing what you talked about, Matt, what Billy Donovan did in the video we were watching, and that's putting the praise on others.
Right.
Coby does that all the time.
That's true.
When
Good
you try
point.
to give Coby White praise of 40-point game, he's like, nah, man, all praise goes to my teammates. This player hit incredible shots. This player, we couldn't have done it without his effort in defense. This player hit some big threes, got some big rebounds. He never is in the business of promoting himself or bigging himself up like that. That is an absolute Billy Donovan trait. I'm not saying he got it from him. I'm saying it's been magnified under a guy like Billy Donovan. So, yeah, you give him that kind of credit when you see the growth of your players. And you want to see growth of your players, especially your best ones, in any kind of capacity. I don't care if it's on the court or off the court. You need to see those kind of things, and Coby White is definitely showing that.
And that's why, like, for me, and we'll talk about, like, the, direction of the team stuff and, like, the results and the general tenure of coaches when when teams are underperforming.
Mm-hmm.
But like the thing that always sticks out to me about Billy is like the Bulls will have like the Josh Giddey half court heave game, and he'll come out and do post game media, and he'll just be like completely level headed, and he'll be like, "That was an insane shot, and like we won, but like here's what we did wrong. Here's how we can fix it. Here's what we need to work on for our next game." And here's why we can't get too high on this. And it'll be the same thing after a devastating loss to the Miami Heat in the play-in. It'll be the same mentality. And that like level-headedness, I think, is really important for NBA coaches. And you see that across the board for the most part. Like there's always guys that are really fiery, of course. But like I think that sort of mentality rubs off on the players.
Yeah.
And when you're talking about leadership and Coby, like that's what those guys need to witness from like the front-facing people of the Bulls organization is like – people that have it under control, that are confident in their abilities, that don't get like, thrown off their game because of a tense moment or a tough loss or an incredible win. Like that sort of composure and poise is really valuable, I think, beyond just the X's and O's. And I think that does rub off on the players. And I think you see that with guys like Modest, where he can like come out and say, I want to be the best player of all time, or, whatever, confidence that he wants to display. Like he can say that, but it's not like a cocky emotional thing. It's just like a level, this is how hard I work. These are what my goals are. And I think that really does come from the top down and rubs off on the players in a way that helps them grow. And so it goes beyond just like the, technical, put your elbow in on your jump shot more. It's like, how do you be a pro? How do you handle the highs and lows of the NBA and the grind and the length of the season? And I think Billy just sets the standard in that way.
And he talks about that too a lot. Like, guys, how you going to approach this game? I've heard him talk about that so much throughout his tenure here, is the approach to the game. How you come in, how you prepare, all those things. And it's like, having, the little baby dogs just all run around, all want to do stuff.
Yeah.
And he's just trying to reel them in like, hey, all right, there's a discipline to this. You've got to learn that discipline part of this. You got that part down. Now let's move forward to this. And it's not like he's doing it to not let you have fun or be great on the floor. He's just really trying to teach these young men how to be professionals, because a lot of them didn't know it, and now they're learning.
And there's also like times where you'd see, I don't want to like throw anybody under the bus or like criticize any other coaches, but there's times where you see other coaches and they are, unable to handle it in that way. And I think that can set a bad standard for your team and keep them from preparing the way that they need to. And so you do see the coaches where they'll come in and, I don't know, say something about like a player needed to do this better. Like he's just so, like I think what Coby said about him being upfront is very true, but he does it in a way where it's like, this is what I need from you. This is where you need to improve. But like, let's get this done. It's not an accusation. It's like, let's move forward so that we can be better together. And I think that's like a important distinction as well.
You guys are both talking about preparedness and what Billy does for his players in that regard. And that part of Coby's quote saying, he gets us ready. He gets his players ready to compete every night. I think as a Bulls fan, I could nitpick that as saying that's not entirely true. we've seen the Bulls come out and lay some absolute stinkers
Eggs.
and look unprepared to play.
Yes.
Plenty of time. How many, like
Quite a few.
like last season, I feel like it wasn't as egregious a couple of seasons ago. Remember all the first quarter holes that they dug themselves?
Oh, last year was like that too. It was, like,
Was it also like,
they'd
yeah,
go
I
down
think
by
we-
20 and then
right.
somehow come back and win?
Exactly.
The
It's
timeout
like,
in the first 20
when I
seconds.
saw that part of Kobe's quote, I was like, I don't know about that. Ready to compete? I don't know about that. And I think I saw somebody else in the comments with another nitpicky thing. Andrew McKay saying, quote, for the most part, he's always been honest with me, end quote, was what Coby White said. Andrew saying in the comments, the cynic in me is curious about the other part. And I was too, Andrew. There's a reason that I left that full sentence in this quote, because I saw it, transcribed or aggregated, whatever, elsewhere, with the for the most part edited out of it.
Sure.
And I'm like, no, Kobe said for the most part, he's been upfront with me.
Okay.
And I think that that's fair to point to say, hey, I think Kobe has been frustrated at times not knowing what exactly his role is on this team.
Very true.
Going back to the bald-headed Menace days when he was just a rookie and a second-year player, all the way to this past season when after the Zach LaVine trade and of course, before that, Caruso and DeMar leaving town, taking a more prominent role on the team. But his role, much like Ayo Dosunmu, has changed countless times.
Very true.
Are you a starter? Are you coming off the bench? Are you bringing the ball up the floor most possessions every night, or are you not? Are you playing off the ball? So maybe Kobe and Billy have had some growing pains in their relationship. And I'm not saying that's bad.
Right.
I'm just saying Kobe, it seems, is just very upfront with it. And, like, for the most part, he loves playing for Billy.
Yeah.
There are also, I think, players who are aware that coaches aren't perfect. Because players aren't perfect. Nobody's perfect. But that's like when you talk about, Dave, this isn't just a giant Billy Donovan love fest. We all know that Billy can do better, that Coby White can do better, and they're going to go try in another fresh season that starts, in a month's time. But it's where are they going to get better, and what are the biggest challenges going to be for Billy and for his players?
Oh, very true. Obviously, we're gonna need more talent. I'm not gonna again. This is why we don't put everything on Billy Donovan as far as why they're not doing. But I don't absolve anybody from anything. You get it when you're winning. You're going to get it when you're losing. And I've definitely watched games where I've come on this show after the game and been like, Billy Donovan, nope, absolutely not. Absolutely not. They weren't ready for this. I didn't like this. I didn't like this. Like, I'm going to be honest about it, but in the time of praise, you give them that praise. But in the time of criticism, you give them that as well. That's how you be for real and be honest with people. And again, it's not like I'm saying Billy Donovan is this, a spectacular coach. He's a good coach. He's a very solid coach. He's got his flaws for sure. The Bulls had one winning season under his tenure?
Yeah.
Not all that is his fault, but that's what the numbers are. That's exactly what it is. He's 10 games under 500, if I'm not mistaken, with his time here with the Chicago Bulls. That's just what it is. No Coach of the Year things coming up for him in this kind of situation. It's not really happening like that. Yes, you need that talent, and you need those things in there as well. But I've seen him get exposed by other coaches, definitely. Eric Spoelstra is the first one that comes to mind. So I've seen it happen for him. But he's definitely helped these guys. He's definitely helped them get better. I still think he's a good coach for this young team to help them, grow more. Like I said, on and off the floor, because both of those things are important. But winning at a point, it's going to come a point in time where it's winning time, and the W's are going to have to start coming. So until then, I understand I can't, fully put that judgment on him, but hopefully there will come a time, and I'm saying it's hopefully because that would mean we have the talent that we need here, where I can just say, thank you, done. Billy, you're on. You know what I mean? So hopefully that time will come. We're able to do that, and hopefully that time he'll shine as he did when we got actual talent on this team. The Bulls were really, really a good team. They were number one in the East for that first half of the season. Remember that? That was fun.
Nope. Sure don't.
I'll never forget it.
Shout out Esmond in the chat who said, Troll Joey needs to meet his quota, guys. Drop some thumbs. That's right. Hit the like, or Troll Joe will be sent after you by Katie. Hit that like button while we share a couple of ads. We'll come right back and continue talking about this, setting goals for Billy Donovan in this upcoming season, the challenges he will face. Hit the like. Farsi Cola. Today's show brought to you by Eye on the Ball. I saw you guys had our pal C-Red Fred on while I was gone.
Definitely.
You know, he coaches his kids basketball.
Very well.
Shout out to him. Shout out to all the coaches out there. Eye on the Ball is where you need to be if you are a coach and you're looking for athletes to train. It's simple. You create your profile, upload your background check, and boom, you're in. You can also have a promo for coaches getting 6 months free, then just $50 a month or $500 for the whole year. Athletes of all ages and all sports can find you directly. And here's the best part. Eye on the Ball doesn't mess with your schedule, your payments, or your business. You're in full control. They just connect you with athletes who are already looking for a coach like you. So if you're ready to grow your coaching business and reach more athletes, go check it out right now. EyeOnTheBall.net. That's IEYE ontheball.net. Don't wait. The athletes are already there looking for you.
This ad is Baby Joey approved. He just sent me an email. He was down in Texas helping out Arch Manning. I said, you was helping out Arch Manning? What did he say?
He said, yeah, I like Arch Manning.
And I said, I just didn't understand.
Never understood.
Never understood. Why? Why? You got to pay so much money. It looks like it ain't going to cool. Well, guess what? Shady Rays is going to do something about all of that, ladies and gentlemen. They will give you those premium polarized shades, and they will not, I repeat, will not break the bank. Seriously good-looking, polarized, durable, and not expensive. And, of course, they got that Matt Peck broken replacement plane. The hat is gone. Couldn't get it out, but the hat is out. Unless little glasses are on there, crack, splat, drat. But guess what? Put them into an envelope pack, send them back, and right back on your face. Brand new shades. Let's go. And we've teamed up with Shady Rays to bring you an exclusive offer. Head to shadyrays.com. Use that code CHGO for 35% off those premium polarized shades. And try it for yourself. Shades are rated 5 stars. Over 300,000 people. Because Shady Rays, y'all, with a razor, oh so shady.
Same old.
Same old.
Hey, we're back. CHGO Bulls rolls along on Monday afternoon. Just a few hours removed from bam, 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 bam.
Down.
Oh, my God. Who else is ready? Katie, did I see that you put up a poll for today's show in the comments, which is just run through a brick wall, and that's all of the options?
Yeah.
I love it.
The question
This
is
how I
how are
feel.
you feeling about the Bears season opener tonight? Every response is run through a brick wall. You are
Right.
I picked the
all
first one.
for.
I am the most ready to run through a brick wall.
Yes, man. I'm ready.
Are the Bulls? That's a different question. Before we dive into what we are setting for goals for Billy Donovan this season, what we want to see him achieve and accomplish, I think to preface that, we could talk about what the biggest challenges will be that he'll face in trying to achieve any number of goals and getting this Bulls team to the next level, as opposed to play in, exit, part 4. 4P.
4 of them things, baby.
Like, what do you guys think? Because aside from this team could use some more talent, and I think most of us agree on that.
Just a little.
Aside from that, working with what he has to work with, what do you see as the biggest challenges Billy will face this season? I'll start with you. Is it, fine-tuning his rotations compared to last year and maybe having more or less of certain pieces? Is it establishing that defensive identity the way AK was talking about this summer? Is it improving and growing upon the offensive identity that you started to build with positive yielded results last season? What is it? What's going to be the toughest thing for Billy this season?
Well, I do think that there is an element of this that you can't really talk about this without addressing the, what are the goals here? And, that is separate from the stuff that I think you're
right
hoping that we talk about. But, it is hard because, you are measured against your expectations. And, this is that may be unfair. The teams might argue that's unfair, but tanking teams, you're measuring them based on whether they are one of the bottom teams. And obviously there is some luck involved with the lottery, but if you're a team that says you're going to tank and you finish with the 10th worst record, that's a problem. That's a failure of the result that you were hoping for. Same thing goes the other way. If you're trying to be a playoff team or a team that gets to the second round of the playoffs or the finals or whatever, and you don't, you have to be held accountable to that. And so I don't think, and Billy has been in his, in the past has always said, I just want to get better day by day. And I do think that to a certain extent, that's the coach's prerogative. That's how they are supposed to talk. But the front office has said that too. And I think that's really problematic. So I think that's important to preface all this conversation with. But I do agree that we should separate that out for this part of the conversation. And so for that, like to me, the challenge that he's going to have is, okay, this team says that they want to have a defensive identity. You go out and you trade for Isaac Okoro, but you also say that you want to be fast and shoot a lot of threes. And so for me, balancing those two things together when you don't have a lot of two-way players, I think is the main challenge. You do not have a bunch of guys that you can throw in and say, you're going to give me a lot defensively and also offensively. It is a lot of guys, and not saying they can't get better, not saying that they haven't been good at times in their career, but historically speaking, Giddey is kind of a one-way player. Coby is more of a one-way player than a two-way player. Okoro is more of a one-way player than a two-way player. Like, you have a bunch of guys that have talent, to be sure, that can help you in a lot of different ways. But I think if you're going to really lean into the offensive side, you're not going to be playing the defensive players as much. And that's okay if you want to be a really offensively oriented team. But if you want to enhance your defensive identity, now you might have to start turning towards more players like Okoro. But what does that do to your offense? And so to me, that balance is a really hard thing to strike, especially with the personnel this team has. But if that's the goal, and that's really the only thing that we've heard about what they want to do, they're not setting win expectations, they're not setting playoff expectations. Like, they're saying they want to get better, they want to build on the offensive identity while establishing a defensive identity. Finding that line and balancing that without sacrificing too much on either end, I think is a real challenge.
Yeah, and the great teams can do that. You know what I mean? And obviously the Bulls aren't on that level yet, but great teams find that balance all the time. They know when to be great offensively. They know how to be great defensively. And they have the talent, like you just said, like guys who just do one thing like that. Those other teams have the talent on both ends, you know, where you don't have to – where it makes the coach's life so much easier. And, again, this is big up to Billy, you know what I mean, and what he's done for this team and how he's turned it around in a year for what they've done. Because we used to say on this show, Matt, screaming about their offensive identity and why don't you like shooting threes and why don't you take more of them and why isn't this better? And then
I'll
just stay. I, too, like to live dangerously. But that's what we were complaining about. And then in 1 year, we watched him flip that whole thing.
Yeah.
And we watched them just run and become shooters, and adding red velvet to your team made you even more of a team that's going to take those 3-point shots. So I want to see, and I know that they want to have this balance, but I don't want to put the cart before the horse. Like, I've seen your best thing be your offense.
Yep.
And I haven't been able to say the Bulls have had a best thing in some years outside of DeMar DeRozan. So if that's what's working, I think that's the identity I'm more concerned about establishing for other teams when we're going to play them. Working on your defense is something, yeah, you're going to have to do that.
Yeah.
It's very important. But do you know who your team is? Do you know who you guys are? And for me right now, it's a team that doesn't really have an identity, and the closest thing to their identity that they have is on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
So I think that should be the focus while trying to, you know, learn defense and things like that. But it's, in my head, it should be an 80-20 situation. And I don't know how Billy looks at it. Obviously, he gets paid much more than me, and he should. He's a Hall of Fame coach. So he'll come up with something to figure it out and do it better than probably what I'm saying. But just as a fan on the outside looking in, that's kind of how I see it, is that focus of what Billy Donovan did to this offense and the great job he did in changing this offense around. Like, I don't think you want to go away from that and try to get something brand new when the team hasn't really fully established themselves on something that we've seen work.
And it's also, you know, Dave talking about identity on both sides of the ball and offense being Billy's bread and butter. Worth pointing out, I think, and it wasn't even, as I recall, if I recall correctly, their hot start season when DeMar and Zach were all-stars 21-22, but I think it was the first year of continuity plan, the following season, when Billy managed to coach the Bulls to a top 10 defense.
He did.
And Alex Caruso was still here, so there's that. But I think Billy, and even if he's had some, turnover in his assistant coaching staff, can field a decent enough defense. And yes, maybe also with that get a little bit lucky on opponents missing open shots on certain nights to get some certain wins. But like AK talking about defensive identity this summer and that being a big thing for Isaac Okoro being traded for Lonzo Ball. Okay, I am thinking that I agree with what you just said, which is let's see if we can take this offense that showed some signs of progress and, as Goat, you were saying earlier, totally flipped the offensive game plan on its head compared to previous years in the DeMar era. Can you actually take a completely flipped on its head offensive game plan and take it from average to actually good, above average, do that really well, and hopefully along with that make some modest strides defensively? If you can accomplish both of those things as Billy Donovan, then you're talking about maybe actually being in the playoff mix in an East that appears to be, outside of the top 3, pretty open.
Wide open. Go ahead.
Yeah, and this kind of leads into the prove it that I had. So I don't know if we're ready for that yet, but like I will just say, the Bulls' offense last year was ranked 19th. They had a worse offensive rating last year than they did the year before. So in DeRozan and his final year, when Coby took a step forward, Zach was missing the year. It was the last year of Caruso. They were a 115.1 offensive rating, 19th in the league. Last year, when they overhauled the offense and when they shot more threes and when they played really well down the stretch of the after All-Star break, they were still 19th in offensive rating. So it did not change. They were actually 1 point per 100 possessions worse on offense than the previous year. On the other side of that, defensively, they were better. The last year of DeRozan and Caruso, 116.9 defensive rating. That was 22nd in the league. Last year, 115.4, 18th in the league. So they took strides. At the end of the day, they were 19th in offense, 18th in defense. Like, that's better than being 25th in both, but like there's still a lot of room to grow. And I think,
hate to tell you,
but my point with that is that it is kind of, especially when you don't have a bunch of two-way players, it's like you have to like titrate these things very carefully. If you get a guy who's like offense only because you want to boost your offense, then you're sacrificing on defense. And now your net rating is maybe like staying the same, but like, yeah, maybe you're better at offense, but worse on defense. So your net rating ends up staying the same. So I do think that it's a very difficult line to walk, especially with the personnel. But that's the challenge for me because we've seen now him flip the offense. We've seen him flip the defense. But the end result has been the same. They won 39 games last year. They won 39 the year before that. They were 19th in offense last year. They were 19th in offense the year before that. And so I want to see like a change in the, not in like the, what we're seeing on the floor, but in how it produces. Like, what does that turn into on the basketball court?
Can you, what were they ranked after the trade of Zach LaVine?
So that was another thing I wanted to bring up.
Offensively, I'm asking.
Last year after the All-Star break, they were 17 and 10. Okay. Yes. They were 9th in
how can we forget?
9th in net rating, which is really good.
Yes,
top 10,
very
top
good.
10.
Very good.
16th in offense at 117.4. So you're talking about 114.1 on the season compared to 117.4 after the All-Star break. That means for the first 50 games, they were a lot worse. But that they did make a market improvement, but they were still 16th in offense after the All-Star break. So much better, but only 2 spots up in the rankings because everybody gets much better.
Sure.
Defense was what was impressive to me. Okay, 7th in defense after the All-Star break last year. Top 10.
Yeah, that's crazy.
112.1 defensive rating. And that's pretty much on par with like the year when they were 5th. They were 112.5 defensive rating, 5th overall. So a lot better from them in that regard. But again, it's like when you overload on one side of the ball, are you sacrificing on the other side? And can you do both those things at once? I think that's, again, we've talked about it with Giddey. We've talked about it with Coby. We've talked about it with Vooch. Like, all these guys need to prove that their second half of the year was not a fluke. It's the same thing with the team as a whole. Like, they need to be able to prove that that works over the course of 82 games, not just 25.
So here's what my point I was trying to make on that is I think the offense fueled the defense. And I think the way that they played offensively is what fueled what they were doing on the other end of the floor because they couldn't wait to get that ball back and run some offense and, get it going that way. So that's why I say 80-20. because I think that should be the focus for them, is definitely that offense, man, because it is fueling what they're doing on the other end of the floor. In my opinion, from what I just sat and I watched. And those numbers are crazy. You know what I'm saying? That is a crazy number to say. A top 10 defense from the CHGO Bulls. What did you think that they were top 10 on just off of your eyes? You would think that they were a top 10 more so in offense, more so than they would be in defense. Yes, man. But you would think it would be more offense than defense just from looking at that way. But I think it was fueled because they really like playing that offense.
Nick P in the chat saying, it's hard to set goals for Billy because I don't know what the team's goals are while we patiently wait for AK's vision to unfold. Hard to grade a treading water season for a team in the mid. And meanwhile, our guy Joel just said, I don't think Donovan has to prove anything really this year. It's not a very talented roster. They'll probably play better than their season win prediction. Take the over, LOL. Over. So let's get to it. And I agree, Goat, it's hard, and as Andrew also said in the chat just now, like, it's hard to define the goals for a coach of a team when the goals for the team itself and the organization, shall we say, are a little better. That doesn't mean we can't set our goals for Billy and what we want to see him achieve this season.
Yes.
Guy who's just got some more hardware on his already pretty impressive trophy case as a basketball coach at the highest level.
Awesome ring.
So we're going to make our prove it goals for Billy. We don't know if we've ever done this. We do this with players at the start of every season. We're doing it and decided to do it with Billy today because of the Hall of Fame stuff. So I'm up first, Katie. It's real simple. And I wanted to be in, okay. Katie put it in red. I'll accept it. The way I said it to Katie was bold and italicized to make the distinction. And we all know,
There are certain limitations in Photoshop.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Fair enough.
That makes the distinction.
I appreciate that you made the distinction.
Yeah.
And we all know that this comes, with the preface of, hey, I am accepting as a Bulls fan that they're going to try to win, when I think it's in their best interest to go for one of those top picks in next year's draft. I don't care if you're sick of hearing me say it. It's the truth. You could disagree with me. You're wrong. You could disagree with me. Okay. If they're trying to win, what should the head coach's goal be? Make the playoffs. The real kind. Not the play-in participation trophy kind. Simple as that. Don't overcomplicate things. I was thinking about, we were just talking about offensive rating, defensive rating. Do we want to see those numbers jump? You want to talk about win total in an 82-game season? Nah, keep it simple. You keep talking about being a competitive team, but you ain't one. Billy, show us more, man. I have been a Billy defender many times over the last several years. So I think he is not this organization's biggest problem, and it ain't close to being the biggest problem of this organization. That being said, you have some talent on this team. The Eastern Conference is a joke.
Abysmal.
Get out of the play-in tournament, where you will almost assuredly be yet again this year, and go back to the playoffs. If you want to start having fans take you and your role as this team's head coach, fresh off another contract extension that some fans, media, and otherwise are questioning, by making the damn playoffs. Go make the playoffs. That's it.
Would you be satisfied, or would he accomplish that goal if they made the, I guess, I'm taking the would you be satisfied piece out of that.
Okay.
Would he accomplish your prove it for him if they make the playoffs through the play-in, or does it have to be a top 6 seed?
Good question.
Good question. And I will graciously,
I don't think you would be satisfied with either.
And I will graciously say, yes, making the playoffs through the play-in would count towards achieving this goal.
Don't say Peck's never done anything for you.
Come on, man. Come on. I'm trying to play nice around here.
See, that route is interesting. Because to me, if that's what I don't want to say settling for, but if that's what the prove it is, then it's just, hey, prove that you can beat Eric Spoelstra. That's what I just heard. I just heard prove that you can beat Eric
Spoelstra. He's
Spoelstra.
0 for 3.
I know, yeah.
Can we make it 1 for 4?
Best out of 7.
Speaking of setting low bars around here,
oh my gosh!
In the Eastern Conference, if you are a team not trying to be at the bottom, I don't think making it at the very least out of the play-in tournament into a 1 versus 8 or 2 versus 7 playoff matchup is that big of an ask.
It's got a point. Got a point, kids. Got a point there. Let me get to my prove it here for young William Donovan. My prove it is prove you're not the reason why.
Oh, okay. I was confused by the phrasing. I thought you were like absolving Billy of any.
No. I knew she couldn't fit the whole thing in there.
Billy, it's not your fault.
Yeah. Look at me, Billy. It's not your fault. But I want him to prove he's not the reason why.
Okay.
Matt Peck.
Yes, sir.
Hey, how you doing, man?
I am great, buddy. How are
Great
you?
to see you, man. It's really good to see you.
I
bro.
missed you.
Missed you too, bro. When the Bulls went to the play-in the previous season with Patrick Beverley and Coby White was on the floor in the fourth quarter, what happened in that game?
When Coby left the floor?
Oh, he left the floor.
Yeah.
Oh.
Billy took him out.
Oh, did it?
Then they lost.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I recall you having a tidbit of an issue with that particular decision, and you were not the only one.
Yeah. This season that just happened. When the Bulls, got stomped literally from the opening tip.
Yep.
They didn't look prepared to play. When a team does not look prepared, who does that fall on, Matt?
The coach.
Yeah.
The coach.
Yeah, that's who that is.
Yeah.
Prove that it's not on you is all I'm saying. Like when I can point directly to you and say, this is the reason why this team lost the game, that's a problem. I don't want to do that again this year in the postseason. I think the Bulls, again, will get to another play-in 4 times.
Yeah.
I think they'll get there again. What I want is for them to advance and for me not to point to Billy, or even if they lose, for me not to be able to point to Billy and be like, this isn't the reason why. Last year was just that just happened was really crazy because they just looked completely unprepared to play that team that they had just played in the previous week and it beat the previous week. They were ready for that game. You saw it. They were ready, but Spo was studying.
Spo set the excellent, most ultimate trap.
Yes. Oh, my God. They were studying. They were clearly studying. Yes. Like, they were clearly just figuring, like, letting it happen. But they just looked not ready for that team. They looked ready for it in the previous season before that. And Coby was the only one who could score for them. And then he got taken out the game for Patrick Beverley. Game over after that. I don't want to do that again this year with Billy Donovan. You are a Hall of Fame coach. It's time to do Hall of Fame things. I want to see that in that postseason, that my Hall of Fame coach is doing Hall of Fame stuff against these other coaches and getting the Bulls advancing in the postseason.
Let's go. I love that, Dave. Go.
Yeah, mine's kind of a combination of both years with
combo.
Not as much, like, it's a little bit more vague. Although I do kind of regret not having more of a firm one. But in any event, prove that the system works. To me, like, it's cool that you can flip the offense, but as we talked about before, the offensive rating was ranked the same in the league. It's cool that you want to have a team that has more of a defensive identity, but at the end of the day, you were still whatever number we talked about, 18th.
Yes.
Like, prove that it works. I want to see this actually work, and whether that means, proving that you're not the problem in a playing game or just making the playoffs outright. Like, I do think at a certain point, there are going to need to be some expectations set on this team. If you're not going to tank, that's okay. But then you can't just, like, float around in the middle. If you're not going to really go for it and trade picks for players so that you can go for it, fine. But then you should really conserve draft capital and, like, value your draft pick. They're not doing that either. So at a certain point, like, we can't just accept that being in the middle is the answer. And I think that's going to come down to how do they perform when it matters in the postseason. Well, can they get there, and can they get through?
And clarify if you can and want to go, but it sounds like what you're saying is some of the stuff you were just describing is asking Billy Donovan to prove that AK's system works. Like if you're not going to go to the bottom, you're not going to actually make big moves to try and swing your way to the top, but you're going to be in like that. Deciding to be in the middle is not Billy Donovan's decision,
right? And that's kind of what when I preface that whole conversation by saying, like, it is kind of linked in a way that is hard to separate. But for me, I guess what that means is, like, okay, then I think it is the playoffs part. Like, you have to get there. You have to prove that this style of play can get you to the playoffs. You have to prove that the player development, like, formula that you guys have been working on works. And we have to see that from guys like Modest and Noah. That Josh Giddey can be a player that gets you there. Like, all those things are bets that the organization is making, but I think it's on both Billy and the players to prove that it works.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my point.
That's true.
Katie, Queen Katie. You have approved for Billy Donovan as well.
I do. Mine's pretty simple. Prove that you can develop youth.
Oh, that's a good one.
You know, a lot was made of the way that he used Modest last season. I had a lot of issues with it. We all did in the moment, but we've all kind of accepted that maybe it was the right way to do things.
Yep.
However, I'm not doing that again this season.
Okay.
We're not doing that. If
We're not
he
doing
is
it?
on the floor, I don't want to see him yanked off the floor every time he makes a mistake. You've got to let him figure it out now. Like, that's where...
With Modest specifically or with Noah
Modest
and
specifically.
Modest? Okay.
Noah, I don't care. Pull him out. Or, like...
Well, it's a
He's
good
a
question because
child.
Dreads in the chat just said, prove it for Billy. Can he successfully develop Noah? Noah is saying it the same way he developed Modest.
No, Noah's young. Pull him off every time he makes a mistake. I don't care. I'm honestly not convinced he's going to play any games in the NBA this season anyway. But with Modest specifically, like, we need to develop the right way now. It can't be you made a mistake, go sit at the end of the bench. That's not where we're at with Modest anymore. So my prove it is prove that you can develop youth.
That's a very good point, because you could look at that as a knock on his resume here with the Bulls.
Yeah.
As far as the development of the youth, the guys that I look at that have been doing stuff like Ayo Dosunmu, I thought was ready made, to come in here and do something, and Billy knew it too.
Yeah.
That's why he played from game one, and then after that,
Rookie Ayo was a thing.
yeah, that was a thing. And after that, I'm like, got.
And
I do think some of
after
that is-
Sorry, go ahead. Go.
I was just gonna say, like, some of that is on the players. Like, I
Sure.
think if
No doubt
a
about
guy
it.
is not going to be a good NBA player, it doesn't really matter who his coach is. If a guy is going to be a good player but stagnates with a coach and then gets better with another coach, that's where I think you have the problem. So it's always hard to specify who gets the credit and blame there.
True.
But I agree. Like, this is going to be a very interesting season when it comes to player development, because whether they admit it or not, like, they are invested in that. They have now 2 guys that are lottery picks on this roster that they need to get better, and then they need to turn into players.
Yeah.
Like, if they want this system to work, it's not going to be because DeMar dragged them there anymore. It's because the younger guys got better. And we've talked about, like, look, I don't really think we can call Coby and Ayo like young players so much anymore. They're
Vets.
veterans at this
Yeah,
point.
they're
With
vets.
experience.
But yeah, I mean, they've had a couple of misses with, like, misses is strong. It's not like the jury's completely out on Dalen and Julian and Patrick, but, like, those guys have not excelled. And I do think that there needs to be some acceleration with some of these young guys, and Modest is probably in the best position to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Alex in the chat saying it's exactly what Billy's here for, Katie. Developing youth. I just hope we don't develop youth for other teams. And the
Shout out
development, the way Ayo has ascended, the way Coby has ascended into the players that they are, and even the growth in 1 year from Modest, there's also just as many examples of that not working.
Yes.
With young players who have arrived here, been drafted by the Bulls under Billy Donovan's tutelage and under Billy Donovan's leadership as the head coach of this team that have not, parentheses Patrick Williams. I saw somebody in the chat earlier today make a joke. Somebody was comparing Billy Donovan's even-keeledness with Pat's even-keeledness, and they said Pat's boat isn't even in the water. Shout out to you, whoever made that joke. I thought it was funny.
Like, if I want to be mean about stuff, I can say, even players who were here that got traded and watch them grow and develop. I can point to a Daniel Gafford. I can do that if I wanted. If I'm being mean,
Lowry Markkanen turned into a ghost Billy
yes.
Donovan's first year.
This is very
with
true.
the Bulls.
Lowry Markkanen's in that category as well. Like, you can sit and point to certain players and be like, I don't know, when they left this, they got better. And if I'm being mean, I understand there are definitely things underneath that in context that I'm leaving out.
But what matters is the ones that are still here.
Yeah.
Gafford is the past. Lowry is the past. Those may have been some misses, both in trading and giving up on them from
Wendell
the front
Carter
office and the coaching staff. But like Pat is an example. And again, it's not all on Billy. I think it was Callie who reported at some point last season.
It's definitely not
like
on
dude.
him like that.
As far as the development staff and assistant coaches, numerous, maybe all of them, tried to work with Pat individually, and they all struggled. And Dalen and Julian, you guys were talking about bench rotation while I was gone.
Yes, we were.
Are either of them
this guy.
going to be in Billy's rotation out of the gate this season? Firmly?
I would
I
guess
can't
not.
confidently say that right now. So, good goals. Katie, I like yours. I hope it's true.
Say that word again.
How about make the playoffs? How about
with the T?
prove the system works? How about prove you're not the problem? Those are all good goals. We got to get out of here for now.
Right,
What's
30
up?
seconds. Give me a Bears final score prediction. Matt, go.
Oh God.
Bears tonight, final score prediction.
Tonight.
Vikings 28, Bears 24.
Okay, Dave.
Bears 27, Vikings 23.
Ooh, Will.
24-17 Vikings.
Okay.
Hater.
Katie?
Katie doesn't make predictions.
Wow.
Katie doesn't with the third person.
Get out of here with
Katie
that
doesn't
crap.
make predictions
Get out of
with the
here.
third
You're
person.
hurting in another
I
disc
have
in
to-
back to back.
No.
Ego is crazy.
I have to produce brick by brick later, so if I make a prediction, I could be wrong, and then it could come back to bite me. So
The
I'm not
ego
doing it.
is crazy.
Wow.
Wow.
Katie don't do that.
Wow. All right.
Imagine if I said Will doesn't make predictions.
All right.
Go. No,
I'd
say,
roast you for it.
No, say Will the Go Gottlieb doesn't make predictions. That's how you say it.
Wow.
Keep it locked right here on CHGO Sports YouTube channel. Still plenty ahead to come. We got Cubs coverage tonight, and
Yeah.
of course Monday Night
Good.
Football. CHGO Bears pregame
Bears.
starting at 6 o'clock Central, I believe. Then, of course, after that, immediately following CHGO Bears postgame.
Yes.
After that, we got Brick by Brick.
Yes.
Tons more content right here, CHGO Sports YouTube channel. Keep it locked on. Follow the GOAT, Will _Gottlieb. Big day, BAL. BAWL Sports. I'm Bulls _Peck. We are CHGO _Bulls. Shout out to the Queen of the Controls, Katie Duffy. Happy to be back. Missed y'all. Bulls Nation. See Rebby good? More importantly, bear the F down.
Katie don't make predictions.
See you tomorrow. 4.
Peace.
Okay.
We all silly like the mayor.